through which skill of depicting the story, the poet brings out the best meaning or best understanding of the work of art. Now, in that way, as we have discussed earlier, that story stands for the fabula in Russian language and plot for the sюжет in the Russian language. For Russian, the story is just the raw material in need of artistic touch, whereas the plot is a monotonous is the real artistic touch through which writer makes this raw material of story the understandable thing. Means the peculiar depiction of Tristram Shandy, that how his father had the relationship with his mother and how their coming together gives the birth of Tristram Shandy, because the narrator itself is the central character of the story. Now, the entire depiction, the raw material of the story is a very common day-to-day, everyday life depiction. But the way the writer with his skill is producing the story becomes the significant. The writer makes the monotonous theme of the everyday life very much interesting for the reader of the international level. In the next slide, if you see that how in 1926 the Russian formalist school moves towards the Prague as well as Czechoslovakia and becomes the Prague linguistic school. Mukarovsky developed this concept of defamiliarization into systematic foregrounding. For him, that the aesthetic distortion of linguistic components is always in the shifting mode. Means that today's king or the today's scepter of the king would not be venerated in the time to come. It would become the antique piece for the next generation to come. According to him, aesthetic functions also proves to be ever shifting boundary and not watertight category. The same such object may possess several functions. Now for that, I would like to focus upon the drama by William Shakespeare, another drama, that was The Tempest. In Tempest, as you can see, that Caliban was most powerful person, and at the same time, under the rule of Prospero, he had to serve. Now, during Renaissance period, Caliban stood for one meaning, a kind of slave of the island. But at the same time, in the post-colonial point of view, he becomes the slave or the black slave under the rule of the European Empire. Now, as Mukarovsky says, that it is always in the process of changing. It is not the watertight compartmentalization. Means today you cannot say that particular work of art would stand for this meaning only in the future to come. It is always open, it is ever shifting mode of evaluation, that any time the meaning, the interpretation of the work would change. At the same time, he also says that the serious art and high culture of subject is also in the ever shifting change. It is changing in the value. Now you would ask that what is serious art and what is the high culture? Serious art, as we can see that certain works of Plato are now being produced, especially the cave and the three prisoners story, the light inside the cave, is becoming a kind of cartoon for the today's generation. The today's generation is evaluating the Plato's cave story in the form of cartoon. They are understanding, they are evaluating, at the same time they are mimicking upon the story of cave. Means the high culture and serious art can become the laughing stock for the next generation to come. Next slide, if you watch towards that Roman Jakobson, as from the beginning till the middle, he is the continuous propagator of the Russian formalism, added one more interesting idea by observing that the poetics of a specific age is generally being governed by dominant aspects that derives from non-literary system. Now that is interesting. Let me have the explanation for a while over here. That every age, be it Renaissance age, be it Romantic age, be it age of realism, all of them in the field of literature brings the kind of influence from the non-literary field. Now the question in the mind of students would be that how is it possible? With the particular age, I would like to explain that Romantic writers were basically shifting their work of art or influenced by the visual work of art. Say for example, the dialogue of Christopher Marlowe's Dr. Faustus, that was this the face that launched thousands of ships, O Helen, make me immortal with. Now this dialogue is giving you the depiction of the entire picture, that how would be the glory of that face of Helen, that thousands of ships have been, that there on the battlefield to save her or to capture her. Now this picture of visual art has been produced in the work of art. At the same time, in the case of Romantic poetry or the Romantic age, you would have the music as the source that is apart from the literature that influences the literature the most. Now what is music? Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forest of the night, what immortal hands or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? Now William Blake, by rhyming these words with each other, produces the immense amount of music that even today, if you try to sing it, you can be able to sing it properly. Means each work of Romantic poetry is comparable for the rhyming of the music. At the same time, the last, that realism, which was based on the verbal aspects. Now what is verbal aspect? Verbal art means criticizing something, jibing someone, or scolding someone very bitterly. If we have the example of Alexander Pope's poem, that we thinks our father fools, so wiser we grow, our wiser son no doubt will think us so. Means he is giving that if we think our father's fool today, then tomorrow our children, our next generation is going to think us so only. That there won't be any difference between what we have the perception about our fathers and what would be the perception of our sons about their father. Means it is based upon the verbal art, means it is playing the game of words. Roman Jakobson is specifically focuses upon such dominant aspects that derives from the non-literary aspect. I repeat, for the Renaissance poetry, it was visual art, as we had the example of Christopher Marlowe, whereas the Romantic poetry was based on the music, as we had the example of the tiger, tiger, burning bright. And in the case of realism, the age of realism, it was based on the verbal art. Next slide, if you look towards, now we are moving towards the last phase of Russian formalism, that is Bakhtin school. A part of formalist movement arose in the later period of the formalist movement. Amongst them, the leading propagandists were Mikhail Bakhtin, Pavel Meredev, Valentin Volosinov, and their primary focus was upon the linguistic structure of the literary text. Now, according to them, the ideology cannot be separated from its medium called language. Now, the writer's ideology would be reflected in his language. The way the writer is writing, it would reflect definitely the ideological concept of his mind. Means, according to them, words are active and capable of taking on different meanings and connotations for the different social classes. Means, as we have in Kalidas, that certain Vidusak would speak certain language, whereas the king would be having the befitting language, whereas the Dasi would be having certain kind of derogatory language, whereas the queens would be speaking in some dignified language. Similarly here, according to the Bhakti school, a particular word of literature being used by the writer would be having the active and capable of taking different meanings and connotation for the different social classes. Means for this it becomes necessary for us to go back to the Kalidas and understand this. But here in brief we can say that a single word, say for example, pleasure for the sake of king has different meaning, different connotation, different reaction, whereas pleasure for the downtrodden person has different meaning and different connotation at the same time. Means one word would be interpreted differently according to the class of the person, according to the surrounding of the person. Next to that, as we can see that in the case of King Lear, he said that I stumble when I saw, means when he was a king, he could not see the faithfulness of the daughters, but when he could see, they stumbled him, they thrown him down, and accordingly the meaning of the word for the fool become very ludicrous, and at the same time for the king it was the serious gist of his entire life. In the next slide, Bhaktin school moves one step ahead, as you can see that it asks that how the author controls the truth. The central focus of the Bhaktin school has been the control of the truth by the author. That the author of the writing focuses upon the control of or the manipulation of the truth. That with the artistic language and the acumen of artistic devices, the author rules upon the concept of truth. At the same time, Mikhail Bakhtin gives his concept of carnival. Now here he gives the hierarchies are turned on their heads, upside down. Means fool becomes wise, king becomes beggar. Now for that I need to give you the carnival. In carnival generally people hide their identity and try to become the common amongst or different from what they are. And here in the concept of controlling the truth, the writer plays with the aspect of hierarchies, that he makes the fool wise. In most of the plays by the William Shakespeare, what Queen Elizabeth liked was the fool, because in the play of Shakespeare, fools were the wisest people around, and that is what they were giving the wisest predicament, or what we can say the judgment of the society in front of the audience. At the same time, kings becomes the beggar, as generally it happens, because of their carelessness about their demeanor and the decisions about their life. And opposites are mingled, means in case of fact becomes the fantasy and heaven becomes the hell. Now let me pause for a while, let me focus upon this aspect of opposites are mingled. Means author by his way of peculiar writings combines this both the aspect, whether it is fact with the fantasy, as we can see in the contemporary writings also certain amount of fantasy is required. Entirely fact based stories cannot attract the readers. Readers at the same time needs the fact mingle with the fantasy. And similarly, certain aspects like heaven mingles with the heaven is also the aspect of the author, which brings the attention of the writer, that reader, that see this is the difference between the two basic way of writing. Means practical writing would not mingle the heaven with the hell, because they have to write the practical depiction. But at the same time, the creative writer can play with the truth and controls the truth the way he wants, and then he presents his artistic presentation. In the next slide, you can see that Bakhtin does not imply the radical questioning of the role of the author, which helped the later on the post-structuralist like Roland Barthes. Means here we are describing that how Russian formalist differs itself from the other schools that later on get the cue from the Russian formalist school. First of all, I would like to mention the Marxist school, which had the subordination of the literature to the society. According to the Marxist, that literature had to subordinate itself to the society. Literature should be and must play the role of serving the society. It has no any other role than serving the society, according to the Karl Marx theory and those writers and those theories that follow the Marxist theory. Whereas for the formalist writers, it was isolation of the literary system. Now, isolation, what does it mean by isolation? That unique way of utilizing the artistic devices and the language that makes the literary writing a work of literature different from the others. Formalists are basically focusing upon the way of employing the literary aspects, the writer's basic concern about his writing. And this focus upon the writer's use of language differs them from the another school that is called the post-structuralists, who later on under the leadership of Roland Barthes discusses about the questioning of the author, how he thinks about the work of art, which way of his thinking can be introduced to the reader, and how the reader also breaks the way of structure of reading and he interprets the text according to his own desire, his own way of interpretation. Now, students, I would like to rapidly wind up the entire lecture, and at the end I would give you the story. Now, let us see what things we have seen in the part of Russian formalism. The beginning, the moral base of F.R. Lewis. From F.R. Lewis, we moved towards the Opojas, that was the earlier beginning of the Society for the Linguistic School, and then we moved towards the Viktor Slowacki, Mikhail Bakhtin, Roman Jakobson, and at the end we could see the comparison of Russian formalism with the other work of art or other way of theorizing and criticizing the literature. Now at the end, students, as you can see on the screen, the story of three sons and the king, and on the basis of that we shall